Hello, once again, this is Professor Mike, and welcome to Simple Probability. So, this is my first video on this topic, and in this video, we are going to discuss more of simple probability and how it helps in real life. Well, basically speaking, probability simply means chance. Chance, or you might put it likelihood. So it is the likelihood of a particular event happening. Okay, so if I say the probability that the probability is high, it means that the chance of that thing happening is very high. Okay, so we might put it that probability is a likelihood that something will occur. As simple as that. Probability is a likelihood that something will occur. So, in an outcome or in an event, let me say that. So, probability expresses more like what will happen, or it's more like a guesswork predicting the future. Something we are uncertain about, something we don't know. Uncertain. Okay, something we are uncertain. And in real life, probability, you can see probability in many things. Even though we don't realize that we use probability, we actually do, because probability lives in every prediction we make. That prediction is based on our experiences on that particular thing, and then we say and then to that we make the rightful decision. Okay, so probability, you can see it when you're playing cards and other games of chances. That is probability. As long as there is a chance of a particular thing happening, you can say that there is a probability. You can see probability not just in games of chances, but probability in real life is also used in weather forecasts. Okay, predicting the weather pattern for the next day, or predicting the weather pattern for the next day. Okay, that is based on some records or data that were taken before, or that were taken in the other days. So comparing the temperature to other days, we can say according to this day, there is a chance, or there is a high chance that it might or it might not rain. So that is probability. You can see we use it even though we don't realize it. We use probability in every day. So I said probability is used in events that we are uncertain about, events that we actually don't know the absolute answer to it. We say that it is probability. So why is that? Because when we are uncertain, the future is involved. Okay, the future. That's why even in our definition, probability is a likelihood that something will happen. Okay, it might or might not. So the only thing that you should keep in mind after everything I say in this video is that probability is simply a chance or likelihood that some things will happen. Okay, so let me give you an example. Suppose we are asked, the first question, suppose we are asked that what is the probability of obtaining a tail when a fair coin is tossed once? Okay, so this question is actually a trial. Okay, a trial produces outcomes. Anything you do produces outcomes. An event has outcomes. So a trial is simply an attempt to something, right? Okay, so when you toss a coin, you know that a coin has a head, okay, and a tail. So a coin has a head and a tail. These you can call them outcomes. So you can say outcomes, their head or a tail. So this actually, it's called a possibility space, or some might say a sample space. It is the set of our outcomes. So we can also write outcomes, or simply say possibility space is equal to the set over H. Okay, so this is our possibility space. So the possibility space is head or tail. We know that when the coin flips, there will either be, our outcomes might be a head, and also it might be a tail. We actually don't know what will happen, but with using these, we can simply tell or guess what it might be, but we don't know exactly. If that is probability, there is a chance that something will occur. You know what the funny thing? The funny thing is that even as this, the probabilities are equal. So let me say probability of getting ahead. Okay. So probability, when writing probability, to express it in a fraction form. Okay. Probability is expressed in the form A over B. Let me explain. A means the number of chances that event will occur. B means out of the total of the outcomes. Right? So that is what it means. It is expressed as a fraction to make sense. Okay, here is what I mean. So we are asked first here, what is the probability of getting ahead? Well, we can say that out of the total of two possible outcomes, we only have one chance that what will appear is ahead. So this is an expression of probability of getting ahead. Okay, out of two outcomes, we only have one chance. One chance of getting ahead. You can see how beautiful and marvelous this topic is. It enables us to make predictions. Okay, so this topic of maths is actually, in my opinion, it is one that most of us use, even unknowingly we use it in some situations, even if one has no knowledge and actually hasn't gone to school. Matured people use this topic. Okay, so you could see here that the number of our outcomes our outcomes here, the number of our outcomes, it's 2. Okay, we either expect a tail or a head, or a head or a tail. So that is 2 outcomes we are expecting from that trial. As I said, a trial is an attempt to something, and when you try something, you would expect results, right? And those results are what we are going to predict. Okay, and so let us say now you're finding the probability for getting a tail. So you might look at your possibility space, that the probability of getting a tail, you would say out of 2 outcomes, there is only 1 chance that what is going to appear is a tail. Okay, so what does that mean? You can compare the fraction for the head and the tail. That actually means that there are equal chances of getting a head or a tail. In some ways, we can say 50%, or we can just say 50, 50, 50. That is right if we say that 50, 50. So finally, the probability of getting a head or a tail, it's 1. Okay, so the probability of getting a head, it's half, it's 1/2, and the probability of getting a tail, it's 1/2. So that really makes sense. And then if we say the probability that anything will appear here, okay, the probability that an outcome will come or get a head or a tail, the probability that it will be a head or a tail, we are going to say this is 1/2 plus 1/2. This is 1. Okay, the probability of something is 1. So this is what it implies. The probability of anything is 1. The probability of anything happening is 1. That's what it means. And the probability of anything not happening is actually 0. The probability does not exceed 1. We go to our second question. A 6-sided dice is thrown once. What is the probability that the result will be A, an even number, B, a number less than 6, C, a number greater than 6? Okay, so in such situations, it might be helpful to consider what we call a possibility space. Okay, so might be helpful if we say possibility space is equal to, notice this is our set of our outcomes, a 6-sided die is thrown once. What's the probability? So a 6-sided, which means it has numbers 1 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When it is thrown, we are going to expect any of these numbers to appear. So there is a chance that any of these numbers will appear. Now we are told to find the probability that what we're going to appear is an even number. Even number. So an even number is one that can be divided by 2. So this is 1, 2, 3. So in our possibility space, we have 3 even numbers to consider. Okay, so this will be, out of 6 outcomes, we have 3 chances that what will appear is an even number. So when we simplify this fraction, this will be 1/2. You can see here it splits the whole set in half. It divides it into 2. Okay, so this is A. This is our possibility space, 1 to 6. And then it kind of divides our set like A, this possibility set, into 2. You can see this is 3. It has taken half of the entire set. That's why the probability is actually half. Okay, B. So the number less than 6. Okay, that the number will be less than 6. Okay, with that the number will be less than 6, we actually look at our possibility space once more, and then we realize that the numbers less than 6, see, they are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can say out of 6 outcomes, we only have 5 chances that the numbers will be less than 6. Okay, so the numbers will be less than 6, and this fraction can be simplified. It's simply 5 over 6 again, right? And then C, a number greater than 2. A number greater than 2. Okay, so if we might consider for a number that is greater than 2, we might look at our possibility space once more. So we are going to consider everything after 2. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that is, we can say out of 6 outcomes that are there, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 chances that the number that will appear will be less than 2. Okay, so if we simplify this, this would be 2 over 3. So this is our fraction in our simplest form, and you can see all these probabilities. The one that is high is this one. Okay, this one is the highest probability of them all. The highest that the number is less than 6. It's the highest of them. So which means it can, when the probability is high, it means that there is a chance that this particular event will happen. Okay, so that goes for it. Well, this is the end for this video, and if you find, or if you want to solve the video, feel free to pause the video and do the work. Otherwise, see you next time.